Hello, I'm Cindy Loza, Managing Editor of Member Content for the Path to Purchase Institute and Retail Media Unplugged host. I'm here in London for Retail Media Summit UK, and I'm pleased to be joined by Marc Allsop with Rokt, a sponsor of this year's RMS UK event. Marc, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here. I was upstairs just now. The event looks awesome. So great to be here.
I'm glad you're here. So to kick things off, can you tell us a bit about your role at Rokt?
Yeah, so I head EMEA. I'm responsible for Rokt across the EMEA region. We're a business that really powers transaction marketing in the moment for big e-commerce brands and advertisers. So we've got 17,000 brands partnered with us across the globe. And our job is to really delight customers through using our power of machine learning to drive relevance.
Now, I understand your session looks at e-commerce, specifically if it's lost its momentum since the end of the pandemic lockdowns. Can you share a bit about your view here?
You know, the pandemic was unique for all of us. Hopefully we don't repeat that again, but from an e-commerce standpoint, it accelerated things. And it was really not the e-commerce brands, in my opinion, but it was enabling those physical brands. They had to accelerate their e-commerce journey. So for us, we saw that happen. Big bricks and mortar businesses suddenly were shut, had to accelerate. What has changed now is really the relevance game for those big retailers, those big e-commerce brands. So for us, we see it as being more relevant than ever. And when you look at the big trading events, so Black Friday, for us it's become Black Fall. And when you look at that in the US, there's $1 trillion going to be spent in e-commerce through that period. So for me, more relevant than ever, but equally the war to win the customer, to be relevant and to personalize is more and more relevant than ever.
Great. And did you partner with ASOS?
Yeah, ASOS are one of our partners and we power that transaction moment for them. And that's not just bringing advertising content, it's also bringing their endemic content. So whether that's refer a friend or membership programs, delivery offers. So it's really right offer, right customer, but using their first party data to bring that offer to life. And that's what's really important in this is take what the customer's given you and given you permission to use, but then use it to their benefit.
And what are some of the challenges in this space and any suggestions on how to solve them?
I think the real challenge is that permission's not permanent. It's temporary, right? I think Sir Martin Sorrell spoke recently about this where you're given permission to use that data, but use it wisely. And I think there's almost a temptation to constantly push things to the consumer. From our perspective, sometimes no offer, no communication is the best thing you can do in a certain instance when you know that customer is either showing banner fatigue, offer fatigue, or is simply not ready for an offer. And you have to use the data to understand the audience and decide when's the right time to push the offer. And then when you do, make it relevant. And
what advice do you have for advertisers? Specifically, I've been asked by members in our CPG brand community, how can a mid-sized company with limited budget that's new to retail media participate in this space?
Well, it's quite terrifying. I don't envy in many respects mid-sized brands trying to establish a foothold. We have a number of brands that have grown with us as advertisers. I think what you need to be doing is not focus too much on the upper funnel, kind of the desire to spend a lot of money in brand building and above the line, because you can burn money very quickly and not necessarily win consumers and be spent and gone. From our perspective, it's really about being willing to trial, use new technology, see what works, but trial quickly. Certain channels will work for you, certain ones won't. And I think one of the things we do with most of our partners on the advertising side is we take them to trial very quickly, see if the channel works, and try and help them make the most out of that channel. So experiment. Don't be afraid. You know, I think AI, machine learning can feel very, very disconcerting. If you're a business that's putting consumer packaged goods in front of consumers, that's your core. AI and machine learning and data is not. So find partners that are willing to help you on the journey and allocate some money to test and then more importantly to learn.
And are there any particular technologies you're seeing that could be game changers or that you're keeping in mind?
Well, you're going to hear it a lot today and it's a cliche, right? I'm going to say artificial intelligence and AI. And really it's how you marry the use of that technology with the marketer's instinct. So don't think the technology has all the answers. One of the things we've launched actually yesterday is an adaptive content engine that's actually not just going to use the first party data to serve an offer to a customer, it's then going to dynamically change the offer, whether that's the call to action, the actual offer itself, the positioning of the offer, the logo, etc., relevant to that audience. And that's really all driven through generative AI. So for me, you'll hear it all day and everyone needs to be focusing on AI, but that for me is the core. And it's going to cut across the purchase journey. From the very moment you enter that transaction to the moment you check out and effectively wait for delivery even, it will be prevalent throughout.
What do you think is the next frontier of retail media or an up-and-coming area?
It is that AI challenge. And I don't think it's one of assuming you can buy off-the-shelf products and have all the answers. I think the businesses and the advertisers and the brands that will win are those that still trust their team and their intuition to power behind that marketing engine. So the day of the marketer and the CMO is ever more relevant, because you have to trust some of your intuition around how your product goes to market, how consumers engage with it, and ultimately we're all consumers. You know, everyone in this room upstairs is a consumer in their own right, and we expect to be treated on a personal basis, even if we're one of a million transactions that day.
What do you hope attendees walk away with knowing after your session?
I'd really want them to understand that ancillary revenue, which was really a phrase coined in the airline space, is relevant for every brand. And in that transaction moment, that's where 90% of that revenue gets generated. So I'd really want brands to understand the power, not just in the basket moment and the purchase moment, but that post-purchase moment as well. All the way through that journey, you can add value and you can drive relevance for a customer. So I'd really want businesses to walk away thinking, okay, I have to put products on the shelf, I have to constantly innovate my product, but there is revenue and value for the consumer all the way through that journey. And don't just think about yourself as a producer of a product or a seller of a product. You will add value throughout to a consumer, and actually those moments can surprise and delight a customer. You really can unlock value with an offer that is something that meets their needs, potentially surprises them, but also makes them feel valued. And that really to me is key.
Yeah, great. Well, Marc, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Great.
That's it from us. With Path to Purchase Institute, I'm Cindy Loza. Thanks for tuning in.